Well, there is the holy trinity of Western states too, and we've hit on stomach, we've hit on feet, and I think everybody in this room knows you've done your research, you've done your training, you've pounded the downhills, and the third part of that holy trinity is quads. I mean, I don't know how many times I've talked to people who DNF'd who were, my quads were just shot. I just could not go another step after those God-blessed canyons. And, you know, and for whatever reason, whether it's training or race day execution or whatever, the quads, along with the feet and the stomach, drive people onto the van instead of onto the track. The training's done. It's Thursday night. On race day, how do you, again, the 40 years experience, how do you adjust those expectations during the day? How do you adapt to that feeling that inevitably comes, maybe on the way down to Deadwood, maybe on the way to El Dorado, if you're lucky, maybe not even on the way down to the river. But when those quads start to give you that feeling like, oh man, they're filling up with lead, how do you get through that? How do you get through that? I mean, I've been there with pacers saying, oh, my quads are trashed. We're like, everybody's quads are trashed. Just go. You know, if your quads aren't trashed, you suck, so go. You know? So, how do you do it? I mean, what are those things? It's not a trick, but how do you, it's almost mental more than anything. But how do your quads work through that period, that time when it comes? When it, capital I, it comes.
Well, well, as I said earlier, my first year, I didn't train specific on the course or downhill training, so I paid the price. Come 80 miles, I was, you know, I was racing it. I was running hard. I was down around 21 hours, and I was running hard, and my quads were completely toast. So what I've done, obviously, since is you know, being in Chico, I can train on the course and get those long downhill training runs, which definitely pay dividends. But for those who maybe haven't had that kind of training, haven't been able to go to the downhills and train hard on downhills, long 3-mile downhill runs, you want to take it easy on the downhills. Don't run them hard. Take it easy, because that is where you're going to destroy your quads if you don't have the training there. There's a lot of kind of level ground or semi-level ground to come. For good running terrain that's not going to trash yourself. So, you know, like Andy said, you know, when you're running down into El Dorado or running down into Swinging Bridge, whatever, you know, take it easy down through there. Don't hammer and say, wow, here's I can make up some time. Because bottom line, you're not going to make up a lot of time on that downhill. You're going to probably destroy yourself if you aren't adequately trained. So just, you know, take it easy there, and just a lot of good running towards as you head down the course.
I'm sure you guys all got something on this one.
I totally agree with what you're saying. I think you have to take it a little more conservative if you haven't trained your quads. One of the things I'm going to say is that what you shouldn't do, when your quads start really talking to you, how many people use ibuprofen during a race? Show of hands. That's good. That's really good.
Oh, the smart people showed up tonight.
What I would say do not do is, if your quads or anything are bothering you, do not take ibuprofen, because it masks the pain, and that can be a bad thing. So ibuprofen dehydrates you. It increases your ability to have a high CPK, and while it can really mask pain, from personal experience, I don't think it's good to take Advil or ibuprofen during the race. Any comments on that, you guys?
I totally agree. No ibuprofen.
And I think the other thing about this race, which I think your quads are going to hurt on the downhills. But the good thing about this event is, if you look at the profile, once you get down, you know you're going to go uphill, and you kind of get a respite on your quads going the other way, climbing up, and you kind of revise. You'll start climbing up and you'll go, geez, my quads don't hurt anymore. But then the next downhill, they will hurt again. So give yourself the opportunity to recognize that it will get better on the next uphill.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think I'm the same as Jim. We can come here, and my first training run always of the year, I come home and I'm thinking I'm doing okay. After going through the canyons, I think I did 6 canyons the first time I came out here. And on Monday I could barely, get out of bed. You have to like literally lift your legs out of bed and you're hobbling around and can't bend your knees or anything. But it goes away and then it doesn't come back, thankfully. And for me, it doesn't bother me during the race. But I also, and Jim's totally different than me, I don't like to stop in the race at all, because if I stop I get comfortable, and if I sit down I could just imagine how I'd feel getting up, and my quads might start getting tight, or my feet, which are my main issue, start bothering me. So I try to move through the aid stations quickly. On the other hand, some of us like to take our time and settle down and not move as quickly. So everybody's different, but for me I think I would just tighten up more, sitting in the aid stations for a while.
So
Quads?
yeah, my advice is, unless you've done 15,000 feet of downhill every weekend day, don't try to stay up with Andy on the downhill. But my first year I ran, I was pretty good on the uphills. I was 10 pounds lighter than I am now. But when we started going downhill, everybody around me, Tweed, everybody was just hammering the downhills. And so the next year I thought, well, that's the way I got to run. I got to run their race. And the second year is when I had my only year of quad trashing, because I was trying to run their race. Right? So when people say run easy, you really got to just ignore everybody else around you and run what's easy for your quads and run your race. And if you try to stay up with Andy, your eyes are going to be watering, and your quads are going to keep. And I've tried.